Well, hi, everyone. We are back, and today I've got another quick interview with a good friend of mine, Junie Moon. She is a global love mentor and shadow work coach, and we're gonna explain what all that means. And today we're going to talk a little bit about a piece of shadow work that relates back to the inner critic work that we've been talking about, or I've been talking about on this channel for a few weeks now. So welcome, Junie.
Good to be here, sister.
Yeah, yeah. I just love when we get together and chat. We always have so much
I
fun.
know. I know. I was so excited. Like, oh, we're
Yeah,
just going to chat and talk
yeah,
shop and everybody gets to listen.
right. Exactly, exactly. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit more about what this shadow work is that you do with people and how it helps.
Yeah. Beautiful. So I had no idea what shadow work was. I didn't know what the shadow was. And I hit rock bottom. I don't know how many years ago, 20 years ago. I was 200 pounds. I was walking on eggshells. I was afraid to speak up. I micromanaged everything. And I thought I had a food problem. And then I landed into this workshop. It wasn't even called shadow work, but it was this workshop that helped me see things, the blind spots that I didn't really know were there. What was really running me? What was creating this reality? What was having me terrified on some level to just relax and be myself versus being so careful and jumping through other people's hoops and all of that. So I found this body of work, and it's based on the concept, Carl Jung's concept of shadow, which is the part that we want to hide, the
Mhm.
part that we don't want to let people know we have. Like, ooh, I hope they don't see that, I can be selfish sometimes, or I can be aggressive sometimes. These parts that we think are bad and dark, we somewhere along the way found that when we need to talk about shadow before we talk about shadow work. And so I kind of went the cart before the horse here. So we're born, as you know, like we're not censoring who we are until we feel like we have to censor who we are because we're afraid we're not going to be lovable, or we're going to be criticized or judged or laughed or anything like that. And so we learn very young how to fit in and how to stay safe.
Mhm.
And so we say, well, I better not speak up because the last time I expressed myself, I got whacked. Or when I still, took my brother's toy, I was told I was selfish. And so we learn at a young age, and then it gets reinforced that we better show up differently. So let's throw away selfishness. Let's throw away anger, expressiveness, juicy stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when we throw stuff away, we're limiting ourselves. And so healthy anger is important. Being able to express ourselves is important. To be selfish is important, but in a healthy way. So shadow work is process work. It's personal growth work to shine a light on what you can't see on your own. What's in the unconscious realm? What are the blind spots? Why are you holding yourself back? Why are you talking mean to yourself? Why do you have this inner critic? Because sometimes we don't know. We just believe the BS, the belief systems that are between our ears. And so shadow work is an opportunity to kind of pull back the curtains and go, oh, I got hurt. I'm acting like this for this reason. And then claiming it, taking it back through special processes.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. So you're integrating a lot of these parts of yourself that you felt were not okay for whatever reason happened when you were growing up. You kind of thought, okay, it's not okay to be angry. It's not okay to be selfish or whatever that means. And then
Yeah.
you kind of decide what that means and you to fit in and get love and be part of your family or part of the group that you want to be part of at school or whatever it is. And then,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It worked well when we were a kid. I mean, we needed to do that to stay
right.
safe. I mean, I was bullied terribly.
Hmm.
So raising my hands in class had huge risk. So by the time I got to high school, I was like,
Right.
but that didn't work so well as an adult. And I dimmed my light and I walked on eggshells until I was like, wait a second. I want to take that back. So to your point, yeah, how do I take it back and own it and integrate it in a healthy, conscious way?
Yeah. So you start showing up as more in a more authentic way. That's more true to who you
Exactly.
are.
Exactly. Because none of us are perfect. I'd like to meet a perfect person. That's a little scary. The perfect person is working really hard to be perfect, which is not very perfect.
Right.
Um, yeah. more
Yeah.
whole, feeling more whole, because we are whole. We just limit ourselves.
Right. Right. Yes, we do. And we do it kind of through this inner critic idea that I've been talking about recently. And I don't think you call it the inner critic in the work that you do, but I think it's there. So catch us up with how this inner critic idea fits in with doing shadow work, and how can we start to work with that inner critic, thinking about it in this way.
Yeah, yeah, good question. I definitely mention inner critic because it's a tool.
Mhm.
It's a tool that there's a okay, so there's a part inside of us. We talk parts. We all do. We're like, there's a part of me that believes I can do it and wants to do it. And there's a part of me that's scared that it's, the shit's gonna hit the fan and my life is gonna blow up. So we talk about parts. So there's a part inside of us that we call the risk manager. It's assessing risk all the time. Am I safe here? Is this a good idea to do this? Should I or shouldn't I? So it's always assessing the field and is there danger? Is it worth taking the chance? Now,
Okay.
that's a good thing to have. We need it. It's not going anywhere. However, if we've been hurt or we've had a loss or there's something that's happened that was very painful, it's going to be on high alert. And so one of the tools it uses is the inner critic. Because if you're, let's just say heartbreak, because we're both, working with
Yeah.
relationships and people, I primarily work with people starting over. And so if they're about to get back out there and write a profile or start to date, that risk manager, unless they've unpacked and really looked at what they're carrying in their history, in their bodies, in their unconscious realm, that risk manager might be like, oh boy, this didn't go well last time. She
Right.
was cheated on, he died, he
Yeah.
abused her. Like we need to stop this right now. And none of this is happening consciously,
Right.
but in the background, the risk manager is going, woo, 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 risky, risky. So what does it do? One of the things it does is sends in the inner critic and goes, all right, tell her she's too old. Tell her her boobs are not as perky and no one's going to want her.
Mhm.
Tell her there aren't any good guys left, and or whatever it is. The inner critic, and that's not necessarily the inner critic, but these are the strategies. The risk manager is going to do whatever it can to keep you from taking that chance that it thinks is going to harm you. So the inner critic is a powerful tool to make you feel horrible or doubt yourself or second guess yourself or make you feel like it's just not worth it because whatever it is it's telling you. And so that's where the inner critic lies in this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I bet over time it becomes the risk manager starts using that tool a lot, for, especially for some people, right? And gets really good at it.
It's a muscle. Yeah, that
Yeah.
muscle gets strong and it's what we know. It's like our comfort zone, ha ha ha,
Mhm.
is like I know this territory. I know I don't like myself. I know I look in the mirror and I think I should lose weight or I'm too old or whatever it is. So yeah, we get used to that. It's kind of that learned helplessness to some extent. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, this is the way it is. I can't do anything about it.
Right.
But once you know that there's a reason it's here and there's a part of us that's going, yeah, I don't want you to take that chance, then we can do things differently. We can build a relationship with that part so it's not on high alert.
So you identify the risk manager and you identify the tool it's using, the inner critic. I'm assuming there's other tools that it
Yeah,
uses.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Sickness is one of the tools. The risk manager sometimes will be like, well, let me just have her have migraines all the time, or
uh,
let's flare up her inflammation and have her or chronic fatigue and not have her feel up to going on that date or all these
or
different things.
imagine not
So
sleeping well either could,
all of that.
because I don't know how many times I've laid awake at night worrying about something, right?
Yeah, yeah, let's keep her up and let's have
Yeah.
her ruminate. Yeah, there's so many different ways that we stop ourselves from the things that we desire. And on the one hand, it's us trying to protect ourselves
Mhm.
and to keep us from jumping off a cliff. And on the other hand, we don't have to jump off the cliff. We can take baby steps and we just need to learn how to kind of, you know, reel it in a little bit and have it work for us, not against us.
Okay, so that was kind of a question I was coming up to in my head is like the risk manager uses the inner critic to keep us safe, essentially, the way its version of what safe is. So
Right.
I'm imagining that if we pull all of this out of the shadow and start working with it, there's actually a role for this in our lives. So it's probably not always a bad thing. We don't want to throw it like the baby out with the bathwater.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's what we've done with so many aspects of ourself. We threw out qualities in order to stay safe. And that was the risk manager. Don't speak up because you got punished.
Yeah.
But then you bring that into your marriage. Don't speak up because you might get punished in some other realm. We're not thinking clearly. We're just
Right.
feeling that fear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, lots of different strategies, and it does work for us. So, if and this is kind of I have this whole process I do with it with the risk manager. In fact, when I work with people, it's where I start, which is what's going on and how do we get it to be on your side? It's like, okay, let's just say I'm talking to you. I'm talking to
Hmm.
Julie's risk manager right now. Okay.
Okay.
So you're Julie's risk manager. So what I know about you, risk manager, is you don't want her to get hurt. Your job is not to make things happy or peaceful or get her, famous on her channel. Your job is to keep her safe. Your job is to keep her from pain. But guess what? Now, I'm just going to make this
Yeah.
up because it's not true. But guess what? She hasn't started her channel because you keep telling her no one's going to watch these episodes, which is not true. So obviously, your risk manager was on board. But let's just say, and there are a lot of people out there that want to do a YouTube channel or start a podcast or write a book or open up their hearts to a new relationship. We
Right.
need to get that risk manager to see that there's a price that that person is paying. Like, again, back to the example,
Hmm.
if you really, really wanted to do this, but you
Hmm.
couldn't, you
Hmm.
might be frustrated. You might be, how else can I do this? And, that fear of being seen or whatever the problem is. It's like, hey, risk manager, this isn't working for her. She's in pain because she's not living her purpose.
Right.
Or to somebody else, she's in pain because she's lonely and she's afraid to open up her heart again. And you're not letting her meet anybody. And she's afraid she's going to be alone for the rest of her life. She's in pain. And so once that risk manager sees that the very thing it's supposed to be doing, which is to protect you, is actually harming you
Uh-huh.
in a new way, usually,
Hmm.
then game on. Then you can have it to work for you, with you in a very different way.
Okay. But to do that, I'm hearing you have to have this conversation with that part of you. It's not just, oh, we're going to stop doing this. We're going to develop a relationship with the risk manager because it's serving a role, but we need to get it to do its role in a way that doesn't hurt us.
That's the shadow work way. There might be
Yeah.
other ways to break through risks and,
Uh,
there's a lot of different modalities out there. One of the reasons I love the shadow work model is it really taps into the unconscious realm. And, it sounds like, oh, well, I'll just talk to my risk manager. However, there's a certain way to do it. There's a certain way to get beyond it. I have this course called the Relationship Toolkit, and this journey I bring people on, it starts with what's so scary about opening up your heart or having a conversation or taking a stand for what you believe and having that conversation with that risk manager to show it's not working anymore. So we need to start with what's behind the scenes, what's the fear, what's the injury, if you will. Even if you don't remember your past, people feel the fear, and
Feel it.
then
Yeah.
suddenly with these processes, they suddenly hone in on these voices and go, well, I don't know where it's coming from, but there's this part of me telling me that no one's going to love me and I'm just going to be left. Well, bingo,
Yeah.
risk manager swoops in. So this is how we do it with part playing, revealing, shining a light on the voices, the blind spots, and then doing empowering release work so that people can really own and integrate, as you said, who they really are.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. That this is such, I can tell that we are just talking about the tip of the iceberg and it fits in nicely with the inner critic topic that I've had, but if somebody wanted to dive a little deeper, how would they go about doing that? Would, could they reach
Well,
out to you, or kind of where?
oh, okay. I wasn't sure where you were going. Yeah. So absolutely. I mean, people say, where do they find you? Midlife Love Out Loud. Find me anywhere. That's my handle for Instagram, my Facebook page, my podcasts, which you've been on, and my YouTube channel. So Midlife Love Out Loud.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what is it. We should have talked about this before, but since we're just two chicks having a conversation,
Yeah.
when might this be going out? Do you have any sense?
In a couple of weeks.
Okay,
Yeah.
because in a couple of weeks, I'm actually running a contest. So it works for somebody to win the coaching program called the Relationship Toolkit Program. So I'll make sure I give you the link, because
Okay.
that's another way to like dive in and to really see what's at play here. Why are you holding yourself back? And it's about relationships across the board, not just love relationships, but just
Okay.
how to be yourself, how
Yeah.
to be yourself, love yourself, enjoy your life, own what's important to you. So.
Okay. So we'll put that link in the description.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well,
and
this,
so shadow work with me, or or if you want referrals to other people, I mean, reach out. I'm happy to find whatever people need and support them. So
yeah. Okay. Great. Great. Well, this has been a fun chat. Um, we're kind of running out of time, so I'm gonna end it here. But
awesome.
you and I will stay in touch. Maybe you'll even show up on the channel again in the future.
Sounds good. So good
Yeah.
chatting with you as always.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.